right, what's up, guys? So today we're gonna be reacting to Politico interviewing Donald Trump.
Welcome to a very special episode of The Conversation. I just wrapped up an interview with President Donald Trump here at the White House. We spoke for about 45 minutes about the seismic impact that he is having all over the world, especially right now in Europe when it comes to the Ukraine-Russia war and when it comes to his relationship with our longtime allies. A very significant shift that his administration is looking to see on the European continent. We talked about Venezuela, of course, and then those domestic issues that are so important to Americans every day right now. That's talking about cost of living and affordability. It's talking about health care and those Obamacare subsidies that are set to expire at the end of the year. It was a wide-ranging conversation. Here is my interview with President Donald Trump. Mr. President, thank you so much for joining the conversation.
Thank you.
So Politico has named you as the most influential person shaping Europe as part of our annual Politico 28 list. Past names that have topped the list include President Zelensky, Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, and President Viktor Orban. This year, Politico broke precedent to recognize an American for the first time in the history of P28. And sir, there is no question that you are having a seismic impact on the continent and its politics. One of the most pressing issues in Europe right now is the war between Russia and Ukraine. Your team has been going back and forth.
I wouldn't say one, I would say the most.
The most, you're right. Your team has been going back and forth between Putin and Zelensky with various drafts of a peace deal. Which country right now is in the stronger negotiating position?
Well, I mean, she's gonna answer it, or sorry, he's gonna answer it, but I mean, it's pretty obvious, like, who's in the stronger negotiating position. Honestly, that's kind of a trash question. Like, I don't even know why she's asking that. It's obvious is Russia is in the better position because they've literally taken, what, 1/3 or 1/4 of Ukraine, and Ukraine can't even get the land back that Russia's taken. No matter how much supplies the European Union and America gives them, they still can't take back the land. Like, bro, like, it's obvious who's winning the war. Like, and like I've been seeing in the news that like they say Ukraine is not gonna give up. Ukraine's not gonna give up their land. I'm like, bro, like, what are you guys gonna do? Like, for you guys to gain back that land, literally you're gonna need the help of all of Europe to help you get back the land to fight Russia. Unless all you guys were planning to die, which I guess could happen, but like, well, like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you guys lost the war. Like, you need to give up. There's no way you're gonna get back the land unless like somehow Putin is overthrown. That's the only way.
Well, there can be no question about it. It's Russia. It's a much bigger country. It's a war that should have never happened. Frankly,
Obviously.
It wouldn't have happened if I were president, and it didn't happen for 4 years. I watched that taking place, and I said, wow, they're going to cause some problems here. And it started, and it could have evolved into World War III, frankly. I think it's probably not going to be happening now. I think if I weren't president, you could have had World War III. I think you would have had a much bigger problem than you have right now. But right now, it's a big problem. It's a big problem for Europe, and they're not handling it well.
Last night you said that you weren't sure if President Zelensky was fine with the most recent proposal, that he isn't ready. I was hearing from your advisors around Thanksgiving that they thought this thing might be wrapped up by the end of the holiday, but it's still not done. Is Zelensky responsible for the stalled progress, or what's going on there?
Well, he's got to read the proposal. He hadn't he hasn't read it yet.
The most recent draft.
That's as of yesterday. And maybe he's read it over the night. It would be nice if he would read it. You know, a lot of people are dying, so it would be really good if he'd read it. His people loved the proposal. They really liked it. His lieutenants, his top people, they liked it. But they said he hasn't read it yet. I think he should find time to read it.
Is it time for Ukraine to hold an election?
Let's see. What is the proposal? ceasefire withdrawal, immediate cessation of hostilities, and Russian troop pullout to agreed lines. Territory, key elements, a major sticking point with earlier drafts, Destiny Ukraine. Let's see what Reuters is. What is it? Let's see. Is it a 28-point peace plan? Okay. What is the Russia Ukraine 28 plan? It's basically telling me the same stuff. Yeah, territory. Ukraine cede control of Crimea, parts of Donetsk, Russia, with Russia control over occupied Kherson and I don't know how to say that word. Ukraine would enshrine neutrality in its constitution. Military Ukraine limit to 600,000. The U.S. and allies would provide reliable security guarantees. No NATO troops in Ukraine. Gradual lifting of sanctions. Amnesty, reconstruction, elections, and within 100 days. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. It's been a long time. It's hasn't been doing particularly well. Yeah, I think it's time. I think it's an important time to hold an election. They're using war not to hold an election, but I would think the Ukrainian people would, should have that choice, and maybe Zelensky would win. I don't know who would win, but they haven't had an election in a long time. They talk about a democracy, but it gets to a point where it's not a democracy anymore.
On Sunday, your son, Donald Trump Jr., responded to a reporter's question about whether you will, quote, walk away from Ukraine. And your son said, I think he may. Is that correct?
No, it's not correct, but it's not exactly wrong. We have to, they have to play ball if they don't read agreements, potential agreements. It's not easy with Russia because Russia has the upper hand. And they always did. They're much bigger. They're much stronger in that sense. I give Ukraine I give the people of Ukraine and the military of Ukraine tremendous credit for the, bravery and for the fighting and all of that. But, at some point, size will win generally. And this is a massive size. You take a look at the numbers. I mean, the numbers are just crazy. This is not a war that should have happened. This is a war that would have never happened if I were president. It's so sad. Millions of people are dead, many, many soldiers. Last month they lost 27,000 soldiers and some people from missiles being launched into Kiev and other places. But what a sad thing for humanity. This doesn't affect us. Our country is no longer paying any money. It was Biden gave him $350 billion so stupidly. And, if he wouldn't have given it, maybe something else would have happened. But Putin had no respect for Biden, and he had no respect for Zelensky. Didn't like Zelensky. They really hate each other. And part of the problem is they hate each other really a lot, And it's very hard for them to try and make a deal. It's harder than most. I settled 8 wars, and I would have said this is the 9th. This would have been the easiest one I would have said, or one of the easier.
I guess, he has settled a lot of wars, but, they're kind of I guess you could say, on the red line, basically. You can say, they are settled, but then they're not really, let's see. The only one I know that's really, hasn't been, in the news recently is the India-Pakistan war, when he settled that one, but, Thailand and I think, Thailand and Cambodia or Myanmar, that's still sometimes popping up in the news. The Gaza issue, I know that's still in the news. Let's see. Israel, Hamas, Israel, Iran. Yeah. There's been a lot of theories theories that this is going to heat back up eventually. This Israel and Iran war. Pakistan, India, yeah, I mentioned that. Rwanda, Democratic Republic, Congo. Okay. Thailand and Cambodia. Okay, I think I heard something like, I've seen it in the news. That's still like stuff going on. They're firing rockets into each other's countries. Armenia and Azerbaijan. Okay. Egypt and Ethiopia. Okay. Serbia and Kosovo. Okay. Yeah, like honestly, he's probably only settled like really like 5. 3 of these are still like iffy.
I mean, I settled one that was going on for 36 years. I settled Pakistan and India. I settled so many wars. I'm very proud of it. And I do it pretty routinely, pretty easily. It's not hard for me to do. It's what I do. I make deals. This one is tough. One of the reasons is the level of hatred between Putin and Zelensky is tremendous.
And you're right, you're not spending money, but you sir are spending your time and your energy on this.
I want to stop saving, I want to stop seeing people killed.
If this deal, if Zelensky rejects this deal, is there a timeline? Is there a point at which you say, okay?
Well, he's going to have to get on the ball and start accepting things. When you're losing, because you're losing.
Do you think Ukraine has lost this war?
Well, they've lost territory long before I got here. They lost a whole strip of seafront, big seafront. I mean, you look at the maps. I've been here for 10 months, but you go back 10 months and take a look. They lost that whole strip. It's now a bigger strip. It's a wider strip, but they lost a lot of land, and it's very good land, too, that they lost. You certainly wouldn't say it's a victory. I could show you a chart. It's a lot of land I lost.
It's a lot of land. I think
think of it. If our election wasn't rigged, it was a rigged election. Now everyone knows it. It's going to come out over the next couple of months too, loud and clear, because we have all the information there. But if the election wasn't rigged and stolen, you wouldn't even be talking about Ukraine right now.
The resounding consensus in Europe right now is that they want to keep supporting Ukraine until they can win this war.
Until they drop, yeah.
Is that realistic in your view?
I mean, look, then they should support it. Europe I'm friendly with all of them. I mean, I like all of them. I have no real enemy. I've had a couple that I didn't like over the years. I actually like the current crew. I like them a lot. But and I know them very well. I know them really well. Some are friends, some are okay. I know the good leaders, I know the bad leaders, I know the smart ones, I know the stupid ones. You got some real stupid ones too. But they're not doing a good job. Europe is not doing a good job in many ways. They're not doing a good job.
I want to ask
They
you
talk
about
too
that.
much, and they're not producing. We're talking about Ukraine. They talk, but they don't produce. And the war just keeps going on and on. I mean, 4 years now it's been going on, long before I got here. This is not my war. This is Joe Biden's war. And in terms of America, it's a very sad thing. And the only reason I really care about it is because I hate to see young, beautiful people being killed. That's largely why I got involved. I mean, if you look at the Congo and Rwanda, that's been going on. 14 million people at least killed. Nobody has any idea how many, but killed. Machetes, a lot of machete killings, vicious. But if you look at the wars, and some of the wars that really were going to be millions and millions of people. The Prime Minister of Pakistan said, I saved millions of people by getting involved with stopping India and Pakistan from fighting.
I do want to go back to Europe for a moment, though, because you said they're not doing a lot of things right in your view. And just
they can't be doing right, because look what's happened.
Well, your administration just released a new national security strategy that sent shockwaves throughout Europe. The strategy says a key pillar of American foreign policy should be, quote, cultivating resistance to Europe's current trajectory within European nations. How much should European leaders prepare for your administration to push to reshape the continent's politics?
Well, Europe is a different place.
What do you mean by that?
And if it keeps going the way it's going, Europe will not be, in my opinion, many of those countries will not.
I think he's coming from the standpoint of like immigration, because Trump's big on immigration, and in Europe, especially in the UK, they're having a big problem with a lot of immigrants coming in. So makes sense. Yeah.
Viable countries any longer. Their immigration policy is a disaster.
See? Yep.
What they're doing with immigration is a disaster. We had a disaster coming, but I was able to stop it. You know, we have no people coming through our borders now. 0, 7 months. I mean, who would believe 0? We went from millions of people, in some cases millions of people a month, but millions of people to no people.
That's not what Europe looks like.
The opposite, yeah. I know Europe, they're coming in from all parts of the world, not just the Middle East. They're coming in from the Congo, tremendous numbers of people coming from the Congo. And even worse, they're coming from prisons of the Congo and many other countries. And for some reason, they want to be politically correct, which actually I think is the opposite of politically correct. But they want to be politically correct, and they don't want to send them back to where they came from. And Europe is, if you take a look at Paris, it's a much different place. I loved Paris. It's a much different place than it was. If you take a look at London, you have a mayor named Khan. He's a horrible mayor. He's an incompetent mayor, but he's a horrible, vicious, disgusting mayor. I think he's done a terrible job. London's a different place. I love London. I love London. And I hate to see it happen. You know, my roots are in Europe, as you know.
Right.
And I hate to see that happen. This is one of the great places in the world, and they're allowing people just to come in and unchecked, unvetted.
So how involved are you going to get? I mean, could we see you getting involved in European
I want to run
elections,
the
for
United
example?
States. I don't want to run Europe. I'm involved in Europe very much.
Might you endorse
NATO
candidates?
calls me daddy. I mean, I have a lot to say about it. Look, I raised, you know, the GDP from 2% to 5%. The 2% they weren't paying and the 5% they are paying. And they're paying it because when we send things over, NATO pays for it, and I assume they give it to Ukraine. But
Yeah, one of the things I do agree with is that I did hate that we're just like giving away free money. Like it doesn't make sense. Like we literally have a bunch of issues here at home. Like bro, like our roads are terrible. They need to be updated. More people need help and assistance with childcare and like food. What else? Housing assistance, like healthcare. Like we need help here, man. Like what do they spend like $300 billion in the 4 years from like 2021 to now? Like 300 to 400 billion dollars. Like bro, like we could have done so much with that money here at home. Like I get it. Like they need help with pushing off Russia, but like at what point are we gonna like take care of ourselves and stop worrying about how the world is or like what's going on in the world? Like yeah, we need to be in the world. We need to be a part of it and like read about it basically and understand it. But like, do we really need to get that involved into it to where like it's costing us that much money, which is gonna put us in debt more trillions of dollars in the future? Like, is it really worth it? But yeah, I agree with Europe paying for the equipment that they want Ukraine to get, because it doesn't make sense for us to just give them free equipment and then if Russia takes over, then we're not going to get the money back. And then also, if there is a peace deal, then how are we going to claim the money? I mean, I'm assuming that if Ukraine does surrender, or there is a peace deal, I guess technically it's a peace deal, there is no surrender on either side, then that country's going to be, probably $500 billion in debt from getting money from all the countries around the world. And then how are they going to pay for it when Russia took all their best land, all their fertile land, their industrial land? So how's Ukraine going to pay for it?
Europe is being destroyed.
Would you consider getting involved in some of those elections to put in leaders that you think are better suited?
Well, I've endorsed people, but I've endorsed people that a lot of Europeans don't like. I've endorsed Viktor Orban. I endorsed, go back to South America, Latin America, South America, Milei, Argentina. He was losing in the election, and I endorsed him, and he won in a landslide.
Yeah, with Viktor Orban, beyond endorsing, he recently said that you promised him access to U.S.-backed financial shield worth up to $20 billion. Is that right?
No, I didn't promise him, but he certainly asked for it. But
would you consider giving that to him?
I just think he's doing a very good job in a different sense on immigration. His country's landlocked. You know, he's got a different kind of a country. He doesn't have the sea, so he can't have ships coming in with energy. He's got a big pipe coming in from Russia. They've had it for a long time. It's a different situation he's got.
So would you consider some financial assistance there?
He's really gotten right is the immigration, because he allows nobody in his country. And Poland has done a very good job in that respect, too. But most European nations, they're decaying. They're decaying.
You can imagine some leaders in Europe are a little freaked out by what your posture is, and European.
No, they should be freaked out by what they're doing to their countries. They're destroying their countries.
Well, European Council
and
President.
they're people I like. Look, they're people I like. I get along with them. You know that. But they can't let this happen, and it gets to a point where you can't really correct it. There'll be a point, and it's very close to that point.
And what will that mean?
It will mean that they're no longer going to be strong nations.
Does that mean they won't be allies
Or
anymore?
they'll be, well, it depends, it depends. They'll change their ideology, obviously, because the people coming in have a totally different ideology. But it's going to make them much weaker. They'll be much weaker, and they'll be much different.
And what will that mean for our relationship
look at
with
your
them?
mayor of London. He's a disaster. He's a disaster. He's got a totally different ideology of what he's supposed to have. And he gets elected because so many people have come in. They vote for him now because, it's like, it's one of those things. But I hate what's happened to London, and I hate what's happened to Paris. I hate when I see it.
Sir, it's sometimes hard to tell when you say these things. Do you intend to send kind of a message of tough love to our allies to push them to make reforms? Or do you think that many of them are just weak and you don't really want to be allies with them?
I think they're weak, but I also think that they want to be so politically correct. I think they don't know what to do. Europe doesn't know what to do. They don't know what to do on trade either. I mean, I look at a lot of the trade, situation that's going on over there. It's a little bit dangerous, but Europe, they want to be politically correct, and it makes them weak. That's what makes them weak.
It sounds like you want to see some pretty massive changes.
Well, I think they should get the people out that came into the country illegally.
I want to ask about NATO.
If you take a look at Sweden, so Sweden was known as the safest country in Europe, one of the safest countries in the world. Now it's known as a very unsafe, pretty unsafe country. It's not even believable. It's a whole different country, Sweden.
And Sweden most recently joined NATO. One of the things that the national security strategy says is that the U.S. should work toward ending the perception and preventing the reality of NATO as a perpetually expanding alliance. Are there countries in NATO that you think shouldn't be in the alliance?
Well, in my opinion, they shouldn't keep expanding NATO for number one reason why. Obviously, that's Putin said that's his number one reason why he invaded Ukraine is because they're going to join NATO. He didn't want NATO right on his border. So that makes sense. I mean, maybe Trump wouldn't have invaded Russia or maybe put forces on the Russian border, but Trump's not going to be in 4 years, and you don't know who's going to be the next president who could be like, I hate Russia, and we're gonna invade them. So like, it makes sense why he did it, because if NATO is your enemy, why would you just let them just come up to your border? Like, it doesn't make sense. But should more people join NATO? I mean, what's really the point? I mean, NATO was created for the Soviet Union, and the Soviet Union's not around anymore. Obviously, Russia's the main threat for Europe still, but like, there's really no point for NATO to exist or for people to join. I mean, what's really the point? But
well,
Sweden,
there
for
are
example?
countries that are difficult for NATO. Not that they shouldn't be. I think it's good to have them. Turkey's an example. Erdogan is a friend of mine. Whenever they have a problem with Erdogan, they ask me to call because they can't speak to him. He's a tough cookie. I actually like him a lot. I think actually, look, he's built a strong country, strong military, but they have a hard time dealing with him, and they ask me to call him. And I do call him, and I always work it out with him. He and I work it out really quickly. We had some people that he released that were taken and going through years and years of court cases and everything else. And I said, you got to release him. And he did. He is, very different than a lot of the other leaders. But they have a hard time with him, but, they shouldn't really have a hard time with him.
Should NATO stop accepting new members? Should NATO end where it is now?
Well, there aren't that many left when you get right down to it, right? There aren't that many left. It was always, long before Putin, it was an understanding that Ukraine would not be going into NATO. This was long before Putin, in all fairness. And now they pushed, when Zelensky first went in and first met Putin, he said, I want two things. I want Crimea back, and we're going to be a member of NATO. He didn't say it in a very nice way either, He's a great salesman. I call him P.T. Barnum. You know who P.T. Barnum was, right?
I do.
One of the greatest on earth. He could sell any product at any time. That was his expression. I can sell any product at any time. It was true. He said, doesn't matter whether it works or not. But he's P.T. Barnum. He got crooked Joe Biden to give him $350 billion. And look what it got. Got him about 25% of his country is missing. And in all fairness to Biden, Obama gave away Crimea.
Right, that all happened in 2014.
Obama, because Crimea was the heart. I'm a real estate person at heart, right? I'm very good at real estate. And every time I look at that map, I said, oh, this Crimea is so beautiful. Wow. It's surrounded on 4 sides by ocean. It's only got a little piece of land to get to, to the main, Crimea is massive. But it connects the part of Ukraine that we talk about now
right.
through a small little jetty. It's 4 sides of ocean in the warmest part. It's got the best weather, best everything. And I know you are Ukrainian, and you know Ukraine very well. And Obama forced them to give up Crimea. That was I remember when it happened, but I wasn't involved like I am now. To the knowledge that I have now, I have great knowledge of Ukraine now. I have great knowledge of
really
many
this conflict began back in 2014. People forget, long before the invasion of a few years ago.
Well, when this conflict really began, though, it was simmering for years. But when Obama gave up Crimea, that was a big thing.
I do want to ask.
Do you agree with that? That was a big piece to give up. You are of Ukrainian descent.
That was a major, I remember, when I first moved to the United States, a lot of people didn't know what Ukraine even was. And it was in 2014 that people suddenly started to realize how significant geopolitically that area really is.
I just say, from the standpoint of beauty, weather, everything, Crimea is the warmest. It's just got such great potential. And Obama forced them. Obama did this. This is not Biden. Well, maybe he was involved, but I doubt it. He probably didn't know too much then either. He was never the brightest bulb. But, Obama gave away. He made them give it away.
Well, I do think your approach to Europe is so different than any of your predecessors.
I wonder why she doesn't want to answer the question. I don't know why. Interesting. I don't know what, if she doesn't want to come off like she's agreeing with Trump. Because I guess she's, what's it called? Liberal, I guess. And she doesn't come off like, yeah, I agree with you, Trump. Like, yeah, I agree that, Obama letting Russia take Crimea was dumb. I mean, you can agree to that. Like, it makes sense. Like, I'm pretty sure that nobody's going to, get mad at you for agreeing that, Obama letting Russia take Crimea was dumb. Even they would agree, let him doing that was dumb.
And
I just want to see a strong Europe.
And this national security strategy, I mean, says a lot about the changes that you want.
No, but you have to understand. Here's my approach to Europe. I want to see a strong Europe. When they allow millions of people to pour into their countries, many of these people are committing tremendous crimes. And again, look at Sweden. I'm not knocking Sweden. I love Sweden. I love the people of Sweden. But they go from a crime-free country to a country that has a lot of crime now. Look at Germany. Germany was crime-free, and Angela made two big mistakes: immigration and energy. But those two are beauties.
Well, one country that is pleased with...
Yeah, when Germany, they went from, I think they turned off all their nuclear power plants and were just trying to go straight renewables like wind and solar. Like, I was like, bro, they're dumb. Like, what are you doing? Like, you need coal, you need nuclear because that's the future. The sun isn't always out. There isn't always a strong enough wind for you to keep all that power going. And then you end up with people like having to pay a high electricity bill. And then you have to import energy from France. Like, what was the point of that? I mean, obviously, there's probably some people behind the scenes stating, like, yeah, we should do this. That way we can gain a lot of money and F the people. But we can gain a lot more money if we do this. I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
With the change in strategy from the United States, is Russia. A Kremlin spokesperson called the strategy document a, quote, positive step and said the adjustments they're seeing are, quote, largely consistent with Moscow's vision. Do you think that's a good thing?
Well, I think he'd like to see a weak Europe. And so, you know, to be honest with you, he's getting that. That has nothing to do with me.
But he thinks the changes that you're making and what you laid out in your vision for Europe is what Moscow wants to see.
I have no vision for Europe. All I want to see is a strong Europe. Look, I have a vision for the United States, America first. It's make America great again. I do explain to Europe because I think, you know, I'm supposed to be a very smart person. I have eyes. I have ears. I have knowledge. I have vast knowledge. I see what's happening. I get reports that you will never see. And I think it's horrible what's happening to Europe. I think it's endangering Europe as we know it. Europe could be a whole different place.
Your impact...
And I think the European people should do something about it.
Your impact does stretch far beyond Europe. I want to talk about another area where you're making your mark, which is in Venezuela. You've said that Nicolas Maduro's days are numbered and that the U.S. could soon strike Venezuelan territory. Could we see American troops on the ground in Venezuela?
I don't care.
Yeah, I think he's definitely gonna launch some missiles into Venezuela. Troops on the ground, I don't know. I mean, maybe they'll put like Marines and the Navy, Special Forces in there. But like a full land invasion, I don't see that happening. Honestly, it doesn't really make sense. And Trump would get a lot of pushback. Well, 100% pushback from the Democrats, and I think it would go like 50-50 for the Republican base. So like, I don't even think it's worth it for like 2/3 of fucking Congress, the House, like everybody in America, like 2/3 just like, no, you don't invade. But launching missiles, yes, I think, yeah, they're definitely gonna be launching a lot of missiles into Venezuela. So, and the main reason why he's invaded Venezuela, well, number one, it's the military-industrial complex, because they need money for wars, and if Trump is solving wars and there's no need for bullets, missiles, whatever, armored vehicles, ships, aircraft, how are they going to make money? And like, they're one of the biggest lobbyists in DC. So like, obviously he needs to like, I don't think he wants the war with Venezuela, but he kind of needs it to keep his his military-industrial base happy. So I think he kind of needs it, but he doesn't really want it. Then also, number two, he wants to topple Venezuela, mostly to hurt China so they don't get I guess I wouldn't say a foothold really, but like they wouldn't have access to Venezuela's oil, that we can get access to Venezuela's oil. That way we can be more secure for ourselves and not rely so much on the Middle Eastern oil. Also the Monroe Doctrine, where we want to have all the power in our part of the hemisphere, all of North and South America. America wants to control it and be in charge, be the big dog over here. That's also why Trump did the thing with the Panama Canal. He doesn't want China to have any influence on that because that can cut off, but he basically doesn't want China to have control over that area to where they can affect America, to where if they shut it off, then our Navy, then all of our imports and exports have to go around the horn. It's not the horn. Around Argentina, go all the way down below South America and come up. That takes a lot more time, or have to go all the way below South Africa and then come up again. Like, it makes sense why he's doing it, but I just hope that there is no invasion or anything, and like we're not losing troops at all. I don't want to see American soldiers dead.
I wouldn't say that one way or the other. I can say this, that he sent us millions of people, many from prisons, many drug dealers, drug lords, mental institution, people in mental institutions. He sent them into our country where we had a very stupid president. You know that. Biden's a low IQ person, especially nowadays. I mean, he was low IQ 30 years ago, but he was especially low IQ now. And what he did to our country is not good. Tren de Aragua, the gangs, one of the meanest gangs in the world.
You've locked down the border now.
No, he sent a lot of these people. He also sends in a lot of drugs. So we'll see how it all works out.
So
But I can't talk about
So
strategy.
how far would you go to take Maduro out of office?
I don't want to say that, but
But you want to see him out?
his days are numbered.
Can you rule out an American ground invasion?
I don't want to
Venezuela?
rule in or out. I don't talk about it. Why would I talk to you, an extremely unfriendly publication, if you want to call it Politico, that got $8 million from Obama to keep it afloat? Why would I do that? Why would I talk about that to Politico? I mean, I'm doing this because you picked me as a man
Well,
for
I'm
Europe, and I
asking
thought it was
for
appropriate.
transparency for their American people, because a lot of folks are.
Transparency.
Well, people are
I'll tell
wondering.
you,
Man, Trump is funny, bro. Like, he's just out of pocket with it. Like, he don't really care. It's kind of funny. It really is kind of funny. Like, he accepted the interview from them, and he knows these. I guess these facts. Restating the $8 million from Biden. Honestly, I really just think he does it just. Well, obviously he does it to be friendly and to show that he's like not biased. But then he also does it to like throw out little like snippets like that, like, yeah, you guys took this from Biden or whatever, and like you guys don't really tell the truth, and like you guys' articles and news is like 97% against me, basically, and for my opponent, basically.
What
the
is-
most transparent politician maybe in the world.
A lot of
okay?
folks are wondering what our goals are in
Sure, but I
Venezuela.
don't want to talk to you about military strategy.
Well, may I ask then, what is your goal in Venezuela? What do you want to see with the actions that you're taking?
Well, one goal is I want the people of Venezuela to be treated well. I want the people of Venezuela, many of whom live in the United States, to be respected. I mean, they were tremendous to me. They voted for me 94% or something. I mean, it's incredible. I own a big project, Doral. It's a great place, Doral Country
Been there.
Club. Yeah, and it's a very large place, beautiful place, right in the middle of. They call it Little Venezuela, and I got to know the Venezuelan people very well because of that. I've owned it for a long time, and they're unbelievable people. The area is such a successful area. Everybody is successful. It's amazing. They say if a house is for sale for more than 3 days, there's something wrong. I mean, a house, if somebody wants to sell the house, they sell it in just a matter of moments. People love the area, and I got to know the people well. They're incredible people, and they were treated horribly by Maduro.
And are those the kind of immigrants that you do want to see in America?
They certainly contribute. Yeah, I want to see people. Yeah, I want to see people that contribute. I don't want to see Somalia. I don't want to see a woman that marries her brother to get in and then becomes a congressman, does nothing but complain. All she does is complain, and yet her country's a mess. It's one of the worst in the world. Let her go back, fix up her own country. Somalia, yeah, and I was right about it. I started complaining about Somalia long before the scandal. The horrible things they're doing to Minnesota, it's incredible. They have an incompetent governor there, too. The Democrats are running some bad ships.
Speaking of ships, I do want to talk about the boat strikes. The defense secretary, should he testify, Pete Hegseth, under oath before Congress about that controversial...
Yeah, the boat strikes that they're doing, honestly, I'm going to be 100, they don't even know, if they're all drug traffickers. I mean, obviously some are obviously drug traffickers because there's drugs on the boat. They're not going to allow just normal people just to be to transport those drugs to the country. But they definitely killed 100%. They definitely killing civilians on that boat. There's no way that everybody on that boat is a narco trafficker. There's 100% no way. Honestly, I don't know the legality wise of what she was saying, that they double tapped a boat when there was survivors, they're supposed to come and pick them up and make sure they're okay. I mean, who really knows what to do in that scenario? You blew them up and then you're supposed to come in and save the survivors. I mean, I guess, but I don't really know what is the right answer. If they do pick them up and they're civilians, obviously that's a good thing, but then that's also a bad thing because then you probably killed more than just those two civilians, so then that makes the military look bad. The other thing is they double tapped it to make sure there are no survivors because they are trafficking drugs and or they don't want any witnesses be able to tell the tale that what the United States did was they killed drug traffickers, but then they also killed civilians too, which is a war crime. So who really knows what to do in that scenario? I mean,
strike on the alleged drug boat on
I don't care
September
if he does.
2nd?
He can if he wants. I don't care.
Do you think he should?
I don't care. I would say do it if you want. He's doing a great job.
Have you watched the video?
He was stopping. I watched everything. Yeah, I watch everything. I see a lot of things.
And do you believe that second
pretty,
strike was necessary?
Well, it looked like they were trying to turn back over the boat, but I don't get involved in that. That's up to them. The admiral that did that is a highly respected, as you know, a highly respected man. And we save 25,000 people every time we knock out a boat. On average, they kill 25,000 Americans. So, I don't like doing that, but the drugs coming in through the sea are down by 92%. And I'm trying to figure out the 8%. Who are they? Nobody wants to drive boats to America loaded up with drugs anymore.
Well, I do want to ask,
and we're going to hit them on land very soon, too.
Almost all the illicit fentanyl in the United States is actually produced in Mexico using precursor chemicals from China, according to the DEA. And Venezuela isn't a significant source or transit country for fentanyl. It barely appears on the...
Yeah, that's true. Mexico really is the number one drug producer to import drugs into America. I mean, honestly, it makes more sense for him to actually, blow up their drug labs than try to go all the way down to Venezuela. But let's see how he responds to that.
DA's trafficking assessments.
Well, they do send lots of drugs. Those boats come in largely from Venezuela, so I would say that's a significant. And you can see the drugs. You can see these bags all over the boat. I mean, just bags
So
and
if it's
bags
about
and
drugs,
bags.
would you consider?
But let me tell you what they do. They send really, really bad people into our country, and they've done it better than anybody else. They emptied their prisons into our country, and these prisons are seriously tough. They entered, all of their prisons have been emptied into the United States of America. Murderers, 11,888
So is
murderers.
this about making sure
Well, wait a
Maduro
minute.
sees justice then?
11,888 murderers were entered into our country. And Stupid Joe took all those people, and now we're getting them out. We're finding them. We found a lot of them, and we're getting them out, or we're putting them in jail. Some are so dangerous and so bad that we don't want to put them back to their country because they'll find a way to get back in. But these are stone-cold murderers. But every time we knock out a boat, we save 25,000 American lives.
So would you consider doing something similar with Mexico and Colombia that are even more responsible for fentanyl trafficking
Yeah, I
into
would.
the U.S.?
Sure, I would.
You pardoned former Honduran President Juan Orlando Hernandez and let him out of prison, even though he was convicted in a massive international drug trafficking scheme. How is that zero tolerance on drug trafficking?
Well, I don't know him, and I know very little about him, other than people said it was like a Obama-Biden type setup, where he was set up. He was the president of the country. The country deals in drugs like probably you could say that about every country. And because he was the president, they gave him like 45 years in prison. And there are many people fighting for Honduras, very good people that I know, and they think he was treated horribly, and they asked me to do it, and I said, I'll do it.
Do you think that could send the wrong message to
No,
drug
I don't
dealers?
think so. Look, I think, when you weaponize government, they've weaponized their government just like they did over here. I'm one of the people that survived, but they weaponized the government. We had the most weaponized government. Our election was rigged. They went after me. I was impeached twice. I was indicted. They indicted me. I came out good. Here we are in the White House. Things are looking nice, but they were vicious, and they are vicious. They're sick people.
We've talked a lot about.
So, I'd say some of the stuff isn't really necessarily Trump's agenda. Some of the stuff seems like it's other people's agenda or wants and needs, really. Because, like, logically speaking, there's really no reason why. Well, no, there is a reason why, but he would have a better argument of why he would be wanting to or blowing up boats from Mexico if they did use boats or cars. He would have a better argument for that than Venezuela. Like, they're only just sending like little boats in, which is obviously still bad, but like he would have a better argument for why he's doing that to Mexico. So I definitely think this one is definitely somebody else's agenda, 100%. Somebody else's agenda on what they want to get done. And same for that, I think, was it the Colombian president that got pardoned by Trump? He literally said, I don't really know much about him, but people said, like, it was a sham and, like, he got set up. I mean, like, that's somebody else's agenda. Like, he even said it, like, I don't even know this guy. So, like, that means that somebody was in his ear, like, hey, you should pardon this guy. He's like, he's cool. He's my friend. Like, relax, man, relax. He's all right.
Policy. You've spent a ton of your first year focused on those conflicts around the world, and that has led to some concerns, even from your own supporters, that there hasn't been enough focus on some of the issues here at home. I know that this week you're going back out on the trail, giving me flashbacks of covering your rallies here. You're hitting the road to talk about the economy. I wonder, sir, what grade would you give your economy right now?
Before
I think he's gonna say an A minus, maybe B plus, A minus, B plus.
that, let me just tell you something. I've watched stupid people like Marjorie Trader Green, or some people call her Taylor Green, some people call her Taylor Brown.
She's not a traitor. Like, she's trying to protect women people in jail that did bad things to them, and because it goes against what you want, and also people in your ear who don't want this to come out, then she's a traitor. I mean, I guess technically she is a traitor to you because she's not doing what you tell her to do or what you want her to do. But honestly, to be that harsh to her just because of this one thing, honestly, I would say it's kind of effeminate, really. Like, he's kind of acting like, in this situation right here, in this scenario, he's kind of acting like a female. Like, he's getting over emotional about it. Like, you necessarily, like, he can't, like, if there is a debate and this one question is, okay, Trump, you say she's a traitor. Tell us why she is wrong for what she is trying to do. And, like, he will literally, like, have no answer because what she is trying to do, there's nothing wrong with what she's trying to do. Literally, there's nothing. You don't have an argument for why she's wrong for what she's trying to do. There's nothing.
Because green sometimes turns to brown, which isn't nice. But I've watched her say that he spends too much time on foreign. Well, by doing that, and first of all, it doesn't take a lot of time. I made one trip. I brought back trillions of dollars on that one trip. I stopped in Japan. I stopped in South Korea. I met with President Xi and ended.
You went to the Middle East. I was on that trip with you.
Went to the Middle East. I brought back $3 trillion from the Middle East. I sold many Boeing airplanes on that trip, like 300. When I go on a trip, I only have one place in mind. It's the United States. So when, people with low IQs like Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's a low IQ person. When she says it's too, but she was a loyal person until I wasn't able to answer her phone calls because I'm just too busy to answer people's phone calls. You can't call me 3 times a day. And it's just, not appropriate when I have, over 200 congressmen, 53 senators, 212 countries. All of these people are calling, and a family. Actually, the family suffers. It's harder for me to call back the family. But when you think of what I've done, remember rare earth and the problem with magnets and all of these things that was going to shut down the whole world. I worked it out with President Xi. We have a good relationship. I worked it out with President Xi.
So
Very favorable to the
does
United
come back
States.
to the economy
Wait a minute.
in the U.S., right?
You made a statement, though, that I devote too much time to outside of the United States. I've made a fortune for the United States by focusing
To
on
be
things
clear, that's
outside.
not my statement. That's just what some of your supporters and some others have said.
Well, then, I can't imagine their supporters because I made a fortune and spend very little time. All of my time is spent here. Most of my time is spent here. But when I do go outside, it's only going outside for here. For instance, settling and solving the problem with China, that has a huge effect in the...
I guess I do kind of understand what they mean. Like, he's focusing too much on the foreign policy. I mean, I guess, well, in the news, yes, they focus more on what he's doing internationally, not really domestically as much. So I guess it has that perception. And I'm really trying to think about, like, what has he really done domestically that's, like, well, something domestically that was good for the people. Because, like, yes, he's right. Like, he is doing stuff for America, but he's mostly doing it for the businesses. Like he said, he sold 300 Boeing airplanes. He's bringing in trillions of dollars into America. But, like, I guess if that money turns into more jobs, and yes, he's definitely benefiting the people. But it seems like he's mostly just benefiting, like, really just some businesses and not necessarily, like, the majority of the people. Like, this is, like, what he's saying is, like, it's mostly benefiting, like the top 5% really, and, like, it's not really benefiting, like, the 95% of Americans really. Like, are we getting decreasing healthcare costs? No. Is our education system getting better? No. Is inflation going down? No. How housing prices coming down? No. Like, I mean, yeah, he solved gas. He brought the gas prices down. He brought down egg prices. I mean, inflation's not as high, but it's still high. I mean, yeah.
States, making deals with Japan, South Korea, Indonesia, all of these countries, you're talking about trillions and trillions of dollars. So I guess I could say, let's not deal with anybody. We wouldn't have much of a country.
Well,
we wouldn't have much of an economy. We make a lot of money with these countries. Now, in the past, these countries all ripped us off. If you go back during Biden, if you go back during Obama, they were ripping us off like no country's ever been ripped off. That's why we owe $38 trillion. I mean, we owe it for a reason. But just remember, when we had a problem with China very recently, I was able to work that out. You don't work that out by not talking to people, by not answering with the magnets, with the rare earth. It was a big
and you're
problem.
looking to have an impact here back home.
Well, no, impact. We would have been shut down. China would have been shut down. The whole world would have been shut down. So wait a minute. So some people would say, don't focus on anything outside of our border. I like that too. But I've made trillions and trillions of dollars and solved problems and solved wars. Do you know most of the wars that I solved were solved sitting behind the Oval Office desk on a telephone? I think that those are worthy phone calls. Even if they didn't impact us to save millions of lives from another country, and if I can do that easily because I have an ability, are pretty good.
But I do want to talk about the economy, sir, here at home, and I wonder what grade you would give
A+.
your economy. A+.
Yeah, A++++++.
Well, it's interesting because I talked to a supporter of yours. Her name is Melanie from Westmoreland County, PA, and she loves you. She gave you overall an A++ grade. But here's what she said about the economy. She said, quote, groceries, utility, insurance, and the basic cost of running small business keep rising faster than wages. She also says that not enough is being done. Mr. President, this is one of your supporters.
Okay, good. And
Well, then, I mean, obviously, he and what'd she say, Melanie? They're obviously being hyperbolic. Like, that's like saying, what would you rate me? Or what would you give this food out of 10? Oh, 10 out of 10. But it needs more salt. Use more gravy. It would taste better with this wine. Like, well, then it's not a 10 out of 10. It's not an A+. I mean, obviously, I know they're being hyperbolic, but like, I don't know. It's kind of stupid to just be like A+++++, but then give like this like. Just say like, I would say maybe like a B+ because of this. And then if you accomplish this, then it would definitely be an A+. Like, whatever.
because you said I got an A+ on everything, I guess. I don't know. But
she's still worried about the economy.
But what you have to understand, the word affordability. I inherited a mess. I inherited a total mess. Prices were at an all-time high. When I came in, prices are coming down substantially. Look at energy. You and I discussed before the interview, energy. Energy has come down incredibly. When energy comes down, everything, because it's so much bigger than any other subject, but energy has come down incredibly. Prices are all coming down. It's been 10 months. It's amazing what we've done. If you think of gasoline a gallon, they had it at $4.50, almost $5. You go to some of the states, you had it at $6. We hit 3 states 2 days ago, $1.99 a gallon. When that happens, everything comes down. Now, everything is coming down. With beef, I've just opened that up where beef is going to start coming down pretty substantially.
Would you consider more carve-outs on other goods that Americans find too expensive?
Well, some carve-outs, you mean from tariffs?
From tariffs, yeah. Like coffee, like bananas.
Sure, and I've done that
beef.
already with coffee. They're very small carve-outs. It's not a big deal. But let me tell you about the real economy. We've got $18 trillion coming into our country. Biden had less than $1 trillion for 4 years, and he was heading south. Our country was falling apart. 18 trillion because of tariffs. $18 trillion is coming into our country. I think because of tariffs and November 5th election, if you want to know the truth. But
so would you rule out reducing tariffs on any more goods?
on some, and then some I'll increase tariffs. Because you know what happens is because of tariffs, all of the car companies are coming back. You know, we lost 58% of the automobile business. We had a monopoly on the world. We had everything. And because we had presidents that either weren't smart or didn't have business sense or their people didn't do a good job, they could have kept that. We could have kept the chip market. We had 100% of the chip market, Intel, all of these guys. You know, there's the thing. They came in to see me, Intel. They needed something to be done by the government. I said, I'm going to do it, but I think you have to give us 10% of your company. You know what happened? We made $40 billion on that deal. The price went through the roof. The United States, in about 10 minutes, I made $40 billion. Nobody talks about that.
I want to ask about interest rates because a lot of Americans agree with you that they're too high. You're going to pick a new Fed chair soon. Is it a litmus test that the new chair lower interest rates immediately?
Yes. Well, this guy too should too, but I think he's a combination of not a smart person and doesn't like Trump. But
So
the
you've
reason he
spoken
doesn't
with your
like
potential.
Trump, well, the reason he doesn't like Trump is because I hit him hard because he's doing a bad job.
So you've talked to your potential candidates.
We're fighting through interest rates. Look, he's a negative, but this country is doing so well. Again, we have $18 trillion being invested. Car companies are moving back that left us years ago. AI is coming in at levels never seen before. Factories are opening up all over the country. $18 trillion of investment in the United States. Again, with Biden, we would have lost $10 trillion, okay? 18, that's a record. You know who has the second record? China. China had $2 trillion. That's a lot, $2 trillion. We have $18 trillion. And that ultimately, you know what it reduces itself to? Jobs. You can have jobs like you've never seen in the United States.
Before I let you
And
go.
by the way, and prices are coming down. Just to talk about affordability. The Democrats love to say affordability, but then they never talk about it. They're the ones who gave us the high prices. I'm the one that's bringing them down.
One of the biggest issues on affordability right now is health care, and Obamacare subsidies are set to expire in a couple of weeks, which will lead to higher prices for millions of Americans. I do wonder, Mr. President.
But you said the word, Obamacare. Obamacare
Correct.
was conceived by Barack Hussein Obama, who knew nothing about health
But
care.
we're in the situation we're in now where those subsidies will expire. So I wonder, is letting those subsidies expire acceptable to you? And should Americans...
What I want on health care is very simple. Obamacare was set up for insurance companies to become rich, okay? That was why they, in my opinion, I think the Democrats did it for that reason. Do you know that insurance company stocks have gone up 16, 17, 1,800% over a short period of time? They've been paid trillions, not billions, trillions of dollars. And what I'm saying is very simple. I don't want to pay them anything. No money for the insurance companies. Sorry, fellas, I know them all. No money for the insurance companies. I want to pay the money directly to the people and let the people get their own
Congress
health care.
hasn't put that
But
on
you know,
Honestly, I agree with that. Like that makes so much sense. I mean, like, give the money to the people to where they can choose where they want to go get health care or not. Like, if they choose to spend it on health care, I guess, then yeah, spend it on health care. If they choose not to, well, then that's their problem. Like, I'm pretty big on, I guess you can say, less government involvement in our lives. Like, yes, you collect taxes, and then you should be giving it back to us to where in social programs to help us benefit our lives if we actually need the assistance. So like if we actually need healthcare subsidies so we can actually get great healthcare, then yeah, you should be giving it back to us and not to the insurance companies, who then in part you still have to pay a deductible to a certain amount before they give you or before they start paying for the rest of it. And it's like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, the whole point of the healthcare insurance is that we actually don't have that much money anyway to like pay for that. Like a deductible of like $5,000, like most people don't even have $5,000 to spend. So then like you're already going in debt to pay for that. Like you have to get a loan or put it on a credit card or something, and then they start paying for it. Or if not, say like it only costs like, let's just say $4.99.99, they're not going to chip in and you're in debt. And it's like, well, what's the point of having health insurance? Like, this is dumb. Like, they're not even helping me, and this deductible is way too high. But I can't get it. I can't get a premium or a great insurance plan because I don't make enough money, and I don't want to pay all that money for insurance. Like, but that makes sense. I really do hope they approve that. Like, we should be just getting a paycheck for that, and then we decide where we're going to get the health care.
And that the Democrats.
But in the meantime, I mean, 2 weeks, Mr. President, people will see those premiums go up. So will you tell Congress to extend those Obamacare subsidies while you
I
work
don't
out
know. I'm
another
going to
deal?
have to see. I'd like to get better health care. I'd like to have people buy their own health care, get much better health care. And what I want to do, very simple, I want to give the money to the people, not to the insurance
So right now,
companies.
people are buying their holiday presents. They're planning.
Look, don't be dramatic.
No.
Don't be
They're
dramatic.
planning their
what I
budgets for
want to do.
next year,
Here's what
Mr.
I want.
President.
I know. And what I want to do is help them.
So will
I
their
want to
premiums go up?
I'm giving them money. I want to give the money to the people to buy their own health care. That's a good thing, not a bad thing. The Democrats don't want to do that. They want the insurance companies to continue to make a fortune. The Democrats are owned by the insurance companies. They want the insurance companies to get this trillions of dollars. We spent trillions of dollars goes to the insurance companies. I want that money to go to the people and let the people go out and buy their own health care. It works like magic. But you know who doesn't want it? The Democrats, because they're corrupt people, because they're totally owned and bought by the insurance
So
companies.
at this point, most likely, premiums will go up, and you will find another
Well,
plan?
your premiums could go down if you did what I want to do. I want to
gonna
give
take
the money.
time, sir.
Ready? I want to give the people better health insurance for less money. The people will get the money, and they're going to buy the health insurance that they want.
I want to talk about one last really important issue.
You know that
too.
works really well, right? And you know the Democrats don't want to do it because they want the insurance companies to make all the money.
Immigration, sir, critical to your agenda. I want to ask about what the Pope has said, which is he has called your immigration actions inhumane. Do you take that seriously from the
I
Pope?
haven't seen that. Maybe he has. He also didn't like the wall. They didn't like the wall. The wall
Do you
turned
plan
out
to
to be
meet or
great.
speak
I
with
built
him?
a wall that stopped people from flooding. And I didn't put up the wall. I built the wall. The wall. Nobody talks about that. It's interesting. 2 years ago, a year ago, under Biden, this country was out of control. Millions of people pouring through, totally unchecked, totally unvetted. And now we have nobody coming in. We have them coming in only legally. They have to go through a legal process. Nobody ever talks about that anymore. They should talk about that. But I haven't heard any statements from the Pope. I'm sure he's a lovely man. His brother's a lovely man.
Yeah,
you know
you've
his
spoken
brother.
to him.
You know his brother is Sirius MAGA, lives in Florida.
So will you meet with the other brother, with the Pope?
I already met with the brother. He
But
came
with the Pope, will you meet with him or
Sure,
speak with him?
Why not?
One more question on immigration. The Supreme Court is going to hear a case that could redefine who is here legally
Yeah.
in the United States. I'm talking about the birthright citizenship
Yeah.
case. If the court sides with you and ends birthright citizenship, are you going to try to take away citizenship from people who already have it?
Honestly, I haven't thought of that, but I will tell you this. The case is very interesting because that case was meant for the babies of slaves. And if you look at the dates on the case, it was exactly having to do with the Civil War. That case was not meant for some rich person coming from another country, putting a foot in our country, and all of a sudden their whole family becomes, United States citizens. That case is all about slaves, the babies of slaves. And it was a good reason for doing it. And that's all it was about. And people now are understanding it. It's been explained to them, and I think the court understands it too. That would be a devastating decision if we lose that case.
That court, you've put
Because
three-
our country cannot afford to house tens of millions of people that.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Like, literally all they have to do is they're already pregnant, and then all I have to do is just make sure they're across the border and they give birth in a hospital or clinic or somewhere. The baby gets American citizenship, and then the entire, not the entire family, like the immediate family gets citizenship because of the child. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, that really doesn't make sense.
And through birthright citizenship. When that happened, that was meant for the babies of slaves. And if you look at the exact dates that it was passed, it all had to do with the Civil War and the ending of the Civil War. It's that little period of time, and people now are starting to understand
Do
it.
you want to see one of the justices on the Supreme Court retire so you can put in one more before the end of your term?
Well, the Democrats want to flood the court. You know
Clarence
that.
Thomas is 77, Samuel Alito is 75. Do you want one more?
His
on there?
answer is going to be yes.
Well, I hope they stay because I think they're fantastic. Okay, both of those men are fantastic.
Before I let you go, I want to ask.
I will say this: the Democrats want to pack the court. They want to have 21 justices. That would be a terrible thing for this country.
The future of the Republican Party. Like, I watched you on all of your campaigns pull together, especially in this last one, an unprecedented coalition to win the presidency. You brought in so many new voters to the Republican Party. You chipped away at some of the core bases of the Democratic Party. Is there anyone else in the GOP that can energize the coalition the way you did?
I hope so. I don't know. You never know until they're tested. You know, it's like you jump in the water, you can swim or you can't. Some people can swim and some people can't. You never know. You have to see. I think we have a very good bench. I must tell you, we have a lot of good people. We have a great cabinet. I have a really great cabinet. Better than my first cabinet. I had some very good people in my first cabinet, but this cabinet, you know, I have much more experience. When I first came to Washington, it was interesting. I didn't know anything about any of the people. I was a very successful guy from New York City, real estate, and other things. I mean, I had a great show and a lot of things, but basically real estate. And by the way, I'm fixing up the White House, making it beautiful. I'm doing a great ballroom that they've tried to do for 150 years and all of that stuff. But you never know. Your question's such an interesting question. You never really know until they get tested. I hope so.
Mr. President, thank you so much for joining the conversation. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Honestly, overall, I give that interview maybe like a C+. I mean, honestly, she could have asked like more challenging questions. I mean, although I don't mean challenging to where like she's like disrespecting him necessarily, but like he necessarily didn't give like in-depth answers. Like he was just like on the top, like on the cake. Like he was just giving like just eating the icing, or he was giving icing answers to her questions because they weren't really like in-depth answers really. So yeah, I give it like a C+. But thank you guys for watching, and hope you watch the next one.